welcome to TV Africa News, and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najima Luima, but first are the headlines. Opposition demand audit of the Museveni's 10-point security program. Congo swears in election chief after disputed nomination. And in sports, Kakoza Komakech make Uganda Cranes team for Northern Region Tour. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. Opposition leadership in Parliament has tasked President Museveni to outline and update the country on the successes so far of the 10-point program drawn in 2018 to fight insecurity.
The leader of opposition, Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, while addressing journalists at Parliament on Wednesday on matters concerning the security situation in the country, insisted government owes the public accountability since the measures were drawn and budgeted for, thus costing taxpayers money. Following unprecedented spate of murders that rocked the country, in which a number of high-profile murders happened as well as killing a number of residents in Wakiso district, President Museveni announced a catalogue of measures to curb the murders. Among the proposals made included the installation of CCTV cameras. Mr. Mpuuga's address on the matter follows a demand from a section of legislators asking the government to update the country on the suspected bomb attacks in the country.
Been cheated. She's not a statistic. So please don't tell me we have handled 500 cases when this one of these old women who has nothing has never been handled. To fighting corruption in this country, let's put more resources to it so that the actors are energized and even insulated from tendencies that can make them even start making phone calls or be glad to receive any if phone calls are made. And I have you in full prayers, and I have absolutely no doubt that you'll do your best because you have your...
In the same breath, he urged members of the public to coordinate with the state authorities in the attempts to tame security in the country. Relatedly, Mr. Mpuuga revealed that the opposition leadership would continue through the legal channels available to secure bail for their two colleagues, Makindye West Member of Parliament Mr. Alan Sewanyana and the Kawempe North Member of Parliament Mr. Muhammad Segrinya, who are still incarcerated as they face several charges of murder, attempted murder, aiding and abetting terrorism, to be granted bail.
Sugarcane farmers in Busoga sub-region have reason to smile following news that millers' crushing capacity has increased. This comes after various companies expanded the capacity of their millers to accommodate the surplus in the sub-region. We have more with Kachanchu.
Due to low crushing capacity earlier, prices of sugarcane had reduced from 175,000 per ton in 2017 to 96,000 per ton. Mr. Issa Budugo, the chairperson of Busoga Sugarcane Outgrowers Association, said the capacity was 13,000 tons per day, but it was expanded to 26,000 per day. Currently, Busoga sub-region has 6 sugarcane factories, including Kakira Sugar Works in Jinja, Mayuge Sugar Factory in Mayuge, Kamuli Sugar Limited in Kamuli, Kaliro Sugar Limited in Kaliro, and GM Sugar Factory in Buikwe, and the newly constructed Bujiri Sugarcane Limited in Bujiri, which is expected to begin operations in December. According to Busoga Sugarcane Outgrowers Association records, Busoga sub-region has at least 30,000 large-scale farms. Mr. Budugo said Kakira Sugar Works Limited is expanding and will be crushing 10,000 trips per day, adding that its crushing capacity has doubled from 13,000 tons per day, and by April next year, all available mills in Busoga will be crushing 26,000 tons per day. He added that farmers have about 10 million tons of sugarcane, but the millers only had the capacity to crush 4.5 million tons at full capacity. In June 2019, Busoga Sugarcane Outgrowers Association signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Kenya to supply sugarcane to Olepito Sugarcane Company in Western Kenya after the available sugarcane millers failed to consume their surplus. The contract, which lasted for 3 months, was cancelled following high competition.
Democratic Republic of Congo's Constitutional Court on Tuesday swore in an Electoral Commission chief amid a controversy over his nomination. Denis Kadima takes over as president of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Together with his newly sworn-in team, Denis Kadima has the task of organizing the next elections by 2023. The team was sworn in before the assembled Constitutional Court, the president of the institution, as well as Attorney General of the Republic. Kadima's appointment has not been a unanimous decision, with religious groups who are supposed to nominate Senate members by consensus disagreeing. 6 out of 8 religious groups voted for Kadima, with the Catholic Church and the largest Protestant group, the ECC, opposing it, claiming the nomination process was irregular. Their argument is supported by opposition members of parliament who did not endorse him during the approval of his nomination on October 16th. 3 members expected to represent the opposition have not yet been appointed, but Tshisekedi said he was optimistic that they would join the team. The appointment of Kadima, who hails from the same province as the president, could strengthen Tshisekedi's hand in the next election, but may also undermine perception of the polls' integrity and fracture the ruling Sakad Union coalition, according to political analysts.
Let's go for a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In a move with potential ramifications for other European museums, France is displaying 26 looted colonial-era artifacts for one last time before returning them to Benin. The pieces were taken from Benin during the colonization wars over a century ago.
The works are exhibited at Kouaïban-le-Jacques Chirac Museum in Paris, one last time after almost 130 years abroad. Caliste Bia, curator of Ouaïda Museum of History, said that those art pieces are of essential importance for Benin. He added that it has been more than a century that those pieces have been removed from their historical context. A royal throne, 3 wooden anthropomorphic statues, 4 doors from the Abomey Palace, amongst other pieces that make up this unique collection, also known as the Abomey Treasures. According to Galay Bougène, head of the African collections at Kouaïban Museum, these are quite exceptional works already in the history of Africa art and even more so in the history of world art, so they are quite singular and unique in that respect. 2 curators from Benin have been in France for over a week to organize the return of the treasures. The collection also includes pieces that were never exhibited before. Abdoulaye Imoro, manager of the museum in Benin, where the artifacts will be displayed, is thrilled to welcome home the collections. Imoro said that if he takes the statue of Gleli and Gezo, which were not in their collections, it will be a plus for them and was happy to welcome them. Since 2019, apart from Benin, another 6 countries have submitted requests to have works of art returned to their respective home countries. The list of countries include Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Chad, Mali, and Madagascar.
The second edition of the International Biennial Sculpture Exhibition has opened in Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou. The fair seeks to support the visibility of emerging and established African sculptors.
This year's edition has been dubbed the Ambiguous Adventure in reference to the novel by Sheikh Hamidou Kane, whose young hero Samba Diallo attempts to navigate between the soul of his country and the Western world with which he is confronted. With this theme, artists were invited to express themselves on the complexity of identities in a post-globalization era. Mauritanian artist Omar Bol won the first prize of the jury. In his work entirely made from discarded metal, the artist created a hyena and a vulture, two unfriendly animals, but which must coexist in the same space. The creature is entitled the Chimera, and which represents a meeting of two animals that share the same environment but are not friends, so that they can share this adventure together. Tunisian artist Fedouz Shamek worked with clay from the country and that from Burkina Faso to create a piece that depicts intermarriages and intercommunal relations on the continent. Sahab Kowanda, who calls himself the ambassador of Ouagadougou's dustbins, works exclusively with discarded articles.
Moving on, global leaders have condemned the detention of high-ranking Sudanese officials in what appears to be a coup attempt, as the senior military official Abdel Fattah al-Burhan dissolved the government and called for a state of emergency across the country.
U.S. Deputy Representative to the United Nations Richard Mills has condemned the military takeover of the transitional government in Sudan, stating that it puts United States assistance at risk. He added the act contravenes with the constitutional declaration and the democratic aspirations of Sudanese people and is utterly unacceptable. The African Union has called the military takeover in Sudan unconstitutional and suspended its membership within the continent-wide bloc. Addressing the press, United Nations Security Council President Martin Kimani stated that the African Union Peace and Security Council strongly condemned the seizure of power by the Sudanese military and the dissolution of the transitional government, and they totally rejected the unconstitutional change of government. Kimani added that they were calling for the immediate and unconditional full release of all detainees and warned that the military will be held responsible for the personal health, security and safety of those detained officials. United Nations Security General Antonio Guterres called for the immediate release of Sudanese Prime Minister and all other officials.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, Libya State Oil Company said on Tuesday that 120,000 barrels per day Zaiwa Oil Refinery Complex in a western city of its capital, Tripoli, was severely damaged due to some skirmishes late on Monday. The National Oil Company said that those involved held no regard for the lives of workers at the site.
8 oil tanks and 5 other tanks for oil and chemical products were damaged and were leaking, while the electrical transformer of the power supply system was also knocked out. According to the National Oil Company Chief Mustafa Sanara, the infrastructure of the oil sector represents the lifeblood of the Libyan state. Therefore, vandalizing those facilities, destroying or exposing their workers to danger is a crime that cannot be tolerated. Images posted on social media showed gunmen exchanging heavy fire around the refinery, but neither the identity of the groups nor the cause of the clashes is known. Libya's oil sector, the country's only vital income, has been disrupted by unrest since the falling of long-time ruler Muammar Gaddafi a decade ago. Zawiya city, some 40 kilometers in the west of Tripoli, is the home of Libya's biggest functioning refinery. It is connected to Sharara field, which has a capacity of around 300,000 BPD. Reports of security unrest in the city were circulated on the internet, but no immediate comments were available by authorities.
In our health news today, vaccinated tourists will be allowed into Israel from November 1st, the government said on Wednesday after a campaign to get booster shots into arms succeeding in driving down infections.
Israel was the first country to launch a mass booster campaign with more than 3.9 million getting a third dose since the summer. In late August and early September, cases rose to more than 10,000 a day, a number that has since fallen to just a few hundred. With the spike in cases flattened, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett indicated last week that border restrictions would be lifted. The government confirmed the move in a statement, saying travelers from any country will be able to enter if they can show a vaccine certificate that is less than 6 months old. Travelers will also still need to take a virus test before departure and another on arrival.
And in sports, Uganda Cranes head coach Milton Slejovic and his technical team have embarked on the preparations for the Kenya and Mali clashes next month. Mitchell has named a provisional team of 23 players, all locally based, for the regional tour match against the Northern Select team in Chitugum on 4th November this year.
Express holding midfielder Muhammad Yahya Kakoza makes the team after his recent form where he was outstanding despite the Red Eagles' recent struggle in the domestic league. He is among two holding midfielders on the team alongside Vipers Bobosi Byaruhanga. Mitchell has maintained the usual suspects in attacking midfield options as Uganda Revenue Authority's Shafik Kuchikajimu, Bright Anukani from Vipers, Ibrahim Oriti from Vipers, Milton Karisa from Vipers, as well as Kampala Capital City Authority duo of Rogers Mato and Julius Poloto. There are three goalkeepers: Alliance Nafian of Uganda Revenue Authority, Joel Mutakuba of Express, and the youngster Jack Komakech from Vipers. Ashraf Mandela of Uganda Revenue Authority, Paul Wheeler from Vipers are the right-back options, with notable missing names in the KCCA's Innocent Esimu Wafula. Vipers' Abdulaziz Kayondo is the only left-back on the summoned team. The five forwards are Sadat Anaku of KCCA, on-form Yunus Sentamu from Vipers, Martin Kiza from Express, as well as the Uganda Revenue Authority of Stephen Mukwala and Cromwell Rothomio. The very last tour was held in eastern Uganda at Mbale Municipal Stadium, with the national team winning 1-0 thanks to Joakim Ojera's goal.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.